For those of you who do not know, it is clear that I was correct, and they knew how people are. People don't really listen to intellectuals presenting a superior argument, and so they were somewhat concerned about my arguments, but they were mostly concerned about me establishing myself in my rightful place as at the top of the martial art world. I had tweaked different tactics and techniques to suit somebody of my body type, and I had reached a status where nobody could beat me. Back in 2012 is when I was first sure of myself, when my first challenge went out. I think I forgot, I offered a certain amount of money to whoever could beat me. Um, then, then the drugging picked up, you know. It was after that when I went to, they thoroughly drugged me. They realized that the drugging was affecting me since 2010 especially. It was affecting me when I was younger as well. It caused huge breaks in my martial arts training, sometimes pretty much years at a time. And, in 2010 they started drugging me and it was affecting me. But as soon as I started, getting it out of my system, there's some performances that are great and there's some performances that are mediocre. And you can see that, the coordination is being affected, my muscles are stiff. There's a lot of problems that truly hinder a martial artist that are a result of the drugging. My mind-body connection was seriously diminished. So when I see the 2012 combos, there's a lot of good combos. Then there comes a point where my mind-body is so diminished that, it starts getting ineffective. I wouldn't use the word sloppy, but I think a lot of people who don't know better would probably use that word. But it started getting more ineffective, which is the main problem. How something looks is not as important as what you can do with it. So, this is, when you fight, you don't do it to look good, you do it to win. You do it to kill. Self-defense and so on. Combat, hand-to-hand combat, war arts and so on. So, then I see, it became very apparent to me, over the years as I was looking back. I'm like, well, how come in 2012, I had perfect form, and then fucking later that year, and in 2013 and 2014, it's, I start, becoming ineffective. I'm like, well, why is that? Well, it was very obvious. I was training pretty much the whole time. It was the drugs. Everyone who's trained, they know you don't get worse, you get better. And that's pretty straightforward in martial arts. There's no other way it could be. When you get worse, there's something else going on. So there's no way that psychiatry can pretend it was something else. It was the fucking psychiatric drugs. Especially when I stopped drinking and I stopped smoking, it was very obvious. So I started posting the videos. I have a lot of videos that I post to show you the effects of drugs and to keep the timeline. You can tell which combos I'm doing on drugs and which combos I've been relatively off drugs. And then there's the ones in the last 4 or 5 months where they've been covertly drugging me, where, I show you when I'm truly feeling the effects of covert drugging and I do a combo, you can totally see, I'm stiff, my blows reflected, my mind-body connection is diminished. And then there's times when I have it, about 95% out of my system, where my moves are pretty precise, pretty on point. And my brain is trying to balance itself with all this madness going on, but it truly never can. It's like getting, hit in the head with a fucking sledgehammer every morning, and then again at night, your body, your brain's never going to truly balance it. It's taking serious harm, serious damage. So, and I knew especially back in 2012, before I forget. So when you see these things sewed on, okay? My mom's been sewing for fucking decades before she sewed this. She's always had a sewing kit since I was little, going back 30 years when I was a little kid. She had a sewing kit, she sewed things on. So why is it that magically, when I asked her for recommendations, she said, well, where do you want the patch? I said, well, where does it look good? And I started comparing it to the old polo patches. We used to have these shirts with the little polo patch. I think it was probably about right here. And she said, well, you know, how about we put it further out? And so she did this on several of my gigs. And so after a while, I started catching on that she was trying to play me out, make me look fucking stupid, you know? And if anything, it's the people who are trying to drug me that are stupid. Because if you're going to say, well, you know, you can tell he's crazy by what he wears, right? Well, it's the people who are trying to drug me who put the patch over here, you know? So either they're fucking stupid or they're trying to play me out. Either way, it proves my point. Period. Period. So you might say, well, why do you wear it anyway? Well, because it has the patch on it, number one. Number two, I can still work with it to a certain degree. I can still, you know, do little things like this. And it has its moments where it doesn't look so bad. When it, you know, after being in the wash a few times, it kind of crumbled up a little bit like this, you know, because of the positioning and everything. It looked worse than when it first looked. And when you're laying it down, it doesn't look so bad. When it's spread out like this, it doesn't look so bad. But I kind of suspected that it might turn out bad, and it did, you know. And also, I paid a lot of money for these fucking different outfits, you know. And what's the alternative to fucking, you know, it's sewed in. It's not ironed on, it's sewed on. You know, am I supposed to clip it off and have this ugly, like, you know, discoloring there? Or whatever the fuck, you know, discoloring or worse? You know, so I decided to roll with it. So when you truly understand the situation, you know that I'm right about everything. Okay? And you can tell who is smart in my comments, who are the smarter people and who are the dumber people, by what they say in the comments. The dumber people either are not going to get it, or they're going to be siding with the New World Order because they're too stupid to know why it's wrong. The smarter people are going to be siding with me, or they're going to appreciate what I'm doing. Whether or not they're siding with me and understand that I'm correct. So when you look at the whole situation, you know, it is impossible to be among even the top 30% of people and to not agree with me. Impossible. And your actions have to reflect it. You know, that's like me saying, well, you know, I know there's a cliff there and I still walk off it. It's like, well, why were you playing stupid? You thought it was smart to play stupid, but you walked off the fucking cliff and died? You know, it's the same thing. They're dying spiritually. They're dying, you know, as far as morals. You know, they're losing their morals when they side with the New World Order. If you're religious, you can appreciate they're losing their soul. They're losing their true position in society as a honorable person. Instead, they're a lowly dog, and everyone knows it. It's like a bunch of pigs pretending they're honorable when we all know they're corrupt fucking lowly dogs. You know, it's like shrinks pretending they're doing a service to society when all the insightful people know that they're drug dealing trash. It's that idea, you know. It's like a bunch of rich people thinking they have class when we all know they're the biggest criminals of all. You know, it's like you cannot be stupid about it and be smart. You cannot play stupid about it and be smart for the reasons I've just explained. And if you don't get that, then you're even dumber than the first two categories. The dumbest people of all are the people who I've explained this to. Okay? This is after me explaining to you why you're wrong. You know, that's a fucking cliff. You're falling off the cliff. I'm like, that was a cliff. You're like, no, it's not. You fucking idiot. I've explained it to you and you're still a dumb fuck.